If you are looking for a spot to get Browns coverage throughout the entire offseason, or if you're a Browns fan that actually follows the team 365 days a year and doesn't just clock out after the last week of the season, this is the channel for you. Hit that big red button and subscribe. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and we've got a Browns mailbag coming your way. We do them during our live shows on Wednesday, so check them out. Check out our live show if you're watching this later on, if you want to be on a future mailbag. Our first question comes in from my friend Adam Bunnell. Adam asks, Baker dug his own grave. I really believe if he didn't ask for a trade, he'd still be the QB because I feel like the Browns got more aggressive with Watson when he asked for a trade. Adam, I'm going to disagree. I think when the Browns went off on that path to get Deshaun Watson, there was no turning back. If they didn't get Watson, they had a plan B that was not Baker. That will be one of those, put that next to JFK and Amelia Earhart mysteries. What was the Browns' plan B? Right? What were they going to do if Deshaun picked the Saints or the Falcons? But there was no way Baker was coming back with or without him asking a trade. Appreciate the question, though, my guy. Baker starts week 1 for Carolina and ruins the party. If Baker is on the Panthers week 1, that will be the biggest game in Cleveland Browns history outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers playoff game. And I can't remember how long. I mean, the drama, it would be this kind of league game. I get your popcorn ready because you're going to go through all that before kickoff and then get some more. It would be the best game ever if it was Baker versus the Browns week 1. Now we got a question coming in from Slick Ty. What other AFC North teams is the biggest threat to Cleveland winning the division? Yes. I would say almost all of them, right? Because the AFC North is one of the best divisions in football this year. But if I had to predict what the AFC North will look like in 2022, here is my projected standings. I got the Browns going 12-5. Call me a homer. Baltimore 11-6. It's going to be a tough division, but they're going to get healthy. I think the Bengals take a bit of a step back. It's always tough to envision, but go look at some previous Super Bowl losers. They had some bad hangovers after the next season. I mean, the Niners, for example, I know they got just derailed with injuries the next year, but it happens. And then for the first time, Tomlin goes south of 500. But which team do you hate the most in the North? I think for me, it's the Steelers, but I understand the Crows too. So put BAL if it's the Ravens. If you don't like the team in the southwest corner, that's basically Kentucky. You can call it CIN for the Bengals, or you can roll with the Steelers by putting PIT. Next question comes in from Sonia Wilson. I got Isaiah Weston making this team 100%. This kid is 6'4", 212 pounds, blew out Christian Watson's stats in college in the same league. Kid is special. Do you think he'll make the team? Sonia, have you been watching the Browns Report before? Because, yeah, we've definitely talked about this guy, but I think you're right. I think he's an awesome player. Now, we all get caught up in the offseason, even in preseason sometimes. Remember last year in the preseason, Richard LeCounte looked awesome, and they were like, well, none of the starters playing, so let's come down to earth a little bit. That might happen again this year, but I do think if Isaiah Weston, the UDFA out of Northern Iowa, makes the practice squad, that's an awesome win for him in year 1. But if he can make the 53, power to him. Question from Mason. Do you think the Browns wide receiver room is good enough to get into and win in the playoffs? That's a great question, Mason. I'll say yes. I also believe that Stefanski, Haslam, and Barry gave Deshaun Watson $230 million, and they got Amari Cooper for $20 million and feel, hey, we just got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You know what that means? He can bring everyone else up around him. We don't have to give him tons of weapons. He is an awesome quarterback. He should make DPJ and Anthony Schwartz look awesome. That's why you gave him $230 million, because he has that effect on teammates, and he has that ability to be a game changer. So I do think this wide receiver room can do that. I mean, hell, think about the Patriots, right? They've won some Super Bowls with guys you're I forgot he was on that team. Outside of Edelman, they've had some no-namers, and they've been fine. So I think it's very doable for sure. Before we get to more questions on today's mailbag, I want to tell everyone watching about this new feature that YouTube has introduced. It's called the Super Thanks. So let's say you're not watching our live Browns report, but you still want to contribute to the show. You want to be on the show. Well, if you hit that heart icon with the $ sign emoji inside of it, boom, you can donate to the show, add some custom message, and we'll put you on the show. We did that a couple days ago. We greatly appreciate everyone's support, and like I said, when you super chat, you get a shout out on the show, or when you super thanks, you also get a shout out on the show. Thomas Apple Mott with our next question. Any sleeper breakout candidates for the Browns? Ooh, good question, Thomas. I'm going to take what you said, sleeper, and go to heart with it, because you can't say DPJ and say sleeper. But what about someone that no one's really talking about? How about this 4th-round pick last year, Tommy Togiai? Didn't see much out of him last season as a rookie out of Ohio State. I mean, Malik McDowell, Malik Jackson had awesome seasons for the Browns, and they were healthy, so you never had much of a rotation at that interior defensive line. But hey, we're all talking about Perrion Winfrey and signing more defensive tackles, or, what can other players like Jordan Elliott do on this line? But I think Togiai, if you kind of go back to his days in college at Ohio State down in Columbus, guy played in 3 seasons. He always had some abbreviated seasons, COVID injuries, but he looked really good. I mean, maybe the stats don't, I wouldn't say reflect that, but show that. But when you're a defensive tackle, your job is not to accumulate stats. Your job is to be a guy that's really good outside of the box score by breaking up plays, by taking down a tackle and a guard, freeing up your edge rusher to get to the quarterback. And Togiai, he can do that. So that's my sleeper pick right there. But talking about the Browns defense, who is your favorite player on the Browns defense? It's easy to say Myles Garrett, but I'm one of those people that loves to go the unique route. Like when it comes to getting jerseys, I don't want to get the unique one. I don't want to get the basic one. So what about like a Denzel Ward or a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, right? Let me know who your favorite player is on this Cleveland defense. Next question comes in from Flagspin. Should the Browns re-sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Flagspin, you just came here to stir the pot. So let's go over a couple facts before I ultimately give my answer. OBJ was out for almost 11 months last time he tore an ACL. So if we do the math again this year, he tore it in February. Now we're closer to January, December. So let's say it's 10 months this time for, the sake of the argument. He's coming back in November, December, that range. If I'm OBJ, I'm going to wait and see which teams are closest to winning a Super Bowl. If Cleveland's close to winning a Super Bowl and the number 6 jersey is open, the joke writes itself. But no, I don't think OBJ ends up with Cleveland. I don't think the Browns end up bringing him back. But you never know. I guess it could happen, but I wouldn't count on it. Question in from Andrew Mars. Heard the Giants want to trade Darius Slayton. Thoughts? Well, producer Marshall is our Giants Now host here, and there have been some buzz, some rumors around Darius Slayton, who had an awesome rookie season, and a bit of a downfall after that. So, listen, if Andrew Berry goes into training camp and he's looking around in those shorts and in his athletic t-shirt, he's like, yeah, the wide receiver was not looking like I was hoping it would. Darius Slayton for a 7th, that's all it costs? Yeah, sure. Why don't we bring him in here and see what he can do? So I'd be open to trading for Darius Slayton, but only later in the summer if Schwartz and DPJ, or God forbid there's an injury happens, they're not looking that good. Then maybe I trade for Slayton. Next question in from Jeffrey. How awesome is it Perrion and Greg Newsome went to high school together? The story of their friendship is really awesome. Well, while we're recording this right now, it's Greg Newsome's birthday. So you can shout out happy birthday, HBD, to Greg Newsome in the comments right now. But I didn't know they went to high school together. I learned something new every day. Yeah, okay, that's pretty awesome. Fun fact, I know there's like a bunch of Office characters that went to the same high school. Ed Helms, I think BJ Novak went to the same high school, and John Krasinski and someone else went to the same high school. But yeah, that is a cool fun fact. Also, Garrett Wilson and Baker Mayfield both went to the same high school. We talked a lot about them maybe reuniting. That didn't happen. All right, next question coming in from a random stranger. Is Julio Jones even a possibility? Yeah, I would say he's absolutely a possibility. Again, I'm going to reference back to what I said a little earlier. If Julio Jones ends up on the Browns, I think it's because into July, August, Barry goes, damn, we're just not seeing some of these players live up to the expectations we had for them, or we've had an injury happen, and Julio Jones is still on the street, and what he was asking for before, let's say, was like $5 million, and now you can get him for 3.5. Sure, we didn't like him for 5, but I like him for 3.5 now that some time has passed. It would be a fun idea. I don't see it being very likely. I think we've seen Andrew Berry. He's spoken about his confidence in the current makeup of the wide receiver room, but I mean, it's the NFL. If we learned anything this season, never say never. Next question from my friend Adam again. Why don't people realize that even if Watson got suspended all year, that the trade is still not a bust? I'm saying that a lot. He's on a 5-year deal, so last time I checked, that's still 4 more seasons. I agree with you. If Watson is suspended for an entire season, I would not say that is a bust of a trade. All right. If Watson gets the Trevor Bauer treatment, that may be a bit of a different conversation just because you also gave someone $230 million. And if you known that he was going to be missing 20% of that contract, would you have given him all that guaranteed? But I agree, even if he doesn't play this entire season, you're thinking long term here. You're not thinking this isn't like getting Tom Brady in his 40s. You're getting someone who arguably might not even be in his prime. We got Tim Harsh with the next question. Matthew, how are the Steelers our most hated when the Ravens stole our team? I see what you're saying. That's why I said yes, right? I agree that you could hate either team more than the other, and you agree. I know what you're saying. Goes from Cleveland to Baltimore, but for me, I don't know. Steelers fans just annoy me. Like where I live, where my neighbor's a Ravens fan, we get together, we talk football. He's not too obnoxious. But the Steelers guy, yeah, he's not in the group chat because he just gets annoying. So he's not a part of our AFC North chat. All right, guys, one question here I want to ask is, what Browns game do you want to go to this year? If you could get a ticket to any single game, would it be maybe that Halloween Monday night game against the Bengals, Week 3, Thursday night against the Steelers, or is it another game like the Patriots or the Chargers? Let me know what game you would like to go to the most down below in the comment section.